Hi, my name's Colleen Lowe, and welcome to Born to Be Brave podcast. Today, I'm delighted to interview my friend Lesley Rosas. And Lesley is a transformational teacher. Her life story, when I first heard her story, I was just like, oh my gosh, this woman is the most incredible woman ever. And I'm just so excited that we're friends and that she's going to be on the podcast today, because when you listen to her perspective and her story and her journey, you're going to be inspired. You're going to feel hopeful. You're going to feel like you're unstoppable. You can do anything, and that anything is possible for you. So Lesley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Colleen. I'm
Yeah,
excited to be here.
Yeah, you're awesome. I'm so excited. So first of all, I'm trying to think where I want to start, just because. So I met Lesley in a coaching group with Maya Komaroda, our coach. And I was new. All these people kind of already know each other in the group. And I come into this group, and they're just these amazing women who have been on a journey together for a while together. And they had this experience coming up called the Contadora experience. And I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely want to spend a day. And the Contadora experience is where they speak and they share their stories. And the Conadoras used to be the women who would hold the stories for the community, right? And you guys have been working on your stories and perfecting them and your message that you wanted to share and practicing your stories. And then we were going to spend a day in Zoom with each of you sharing your stories and us listening and learning and just taking the time to soak it in, every person's journey. I feel like we're all connected. And I hope that we can just start with you. The story you shared on Contadora was about, and I have questions about this after you share it, but would you mind sharing your story of of that you shared on Contadora? We'll just start with that.
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So the story I shared is the powerful story of my life. And, we're all just one decision away from changing our entire life. And that's the message that I hope to bring when I share my story. 12 years ago, I left my emotionally and physically abusive husband on our 25th wedding anniversary. 12 kids and 25 years together. And on that day, just things had just come to a head. And I knew if I stayed, I would probably die. My children would probably die. And I knew if I left, there was a possibility that we would be, that we would be found. But leaving, if I left and everything went well, then we would be free. So I packed up our clothes and a 10-man tent. And for the next 3 months, we lived out of that tent homeless while I got a restraining order and custody of my kids. And soon after that, I was so excited. Soon after that, I moved my family to my hometown where I had grown up, and I got us a place to live, finally convinced someone to rent us a house with so many kids. And we're all settled, people came and they gave us beds, they gave us clothing, they gave us all the linens and things that we needed for the kitchen. So I'm set up. My kids, for the first time in their life, they have a home where they don't have to fear for their lives. And for the first time in my life, I'm free. I should be so happy. But, I'm not happy. And there comes this day where I'm walking along Main Street of my hometown and just walking, putting one foot in front of the other. And I'm looking down. You know how we do, we look down when there's weight on us. And I like to call it a backpack because we carry all of this weight in a backpack on our back that just weighs us down. And I'm looking down and I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. And I think to myself, my life is just black and white. My life is just drained of all of its color. And in that moment, and in that thought, I look up and I see in a shop window this pair of red Converse lace-up rubber boots. I mean, just this random pair of red rubber boots. But, you know, up until this point, I had, and I don't even know if you know this, Colleen, but I had lived as a Mennonite, which is a
You were a
plain
Mennonite?
person. Yeah, which is a plain person. So in leaving my abusive husband, I left my community and I left everything I knew for 17 years.
I know exactly what a
So,
Mennonite is. They have them in southern Alberta, where my husband's from, and his dad was the doctor that would go into the Mennonite communities.
yeah, yes.
Mhm. So it's kind of
So
like, oh, those were Hutterites too. Yeah, and it's kind of like
Hutterites,
Amish
Mennonites,
people.
Amish, yes.
Mhm. Just
So
so
I wasn't allowed
people
to
who are
wear,
listening. Mhm.
wasn't allowed to wear red as a Mennonite. And so there's these red rubber boots, and I think they're so cute. But I think, oh, but they're red. And then the thought I had the second before, my life is drained of color. My life is just black and white. Made me think, but they're red. So I went in that shop and I put those red, I found that they were my exact size. I bought them, I put them on. And the moment I put them on, it was like, my life is ignited with color. My life is filled with color. And that was the beginning of many decisions and choosing what I would love and where I would want to go and what I would want to do with my life.
Yeah, it is amazing. I've never been in an abusive relationship, so I don't have that perspective. But the thing that when I heard your story too, I didn't know you were Mennonite, so that even adds more to it, that another dimension to it. But lead me, um, lead me up to, because like what before you got married, like I'm very fascinated by people. I used to be a teacher who worked at the homeless school, and we had the three women's shelters that fed into our school and different things. And so a lot of these women, you know, their kids would be my students, and I was very fascinated by their stories about, because most people stay, right? You stayed for 25 years. It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time to put up with abuse, right? And you had 12 kids with this person. Um, when you were young and dating, and like, did you, was he already abusive? Did you know he was going to be abusive? Tell me, how did you end up in an abusive relationship? And then, well, let's start with that. How did you get in an abusive relationship? I'm just curious about that.
Well, you know, my childhood was not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
I love my mom and my dad, and they did the best that they knew how,
Mm-hmm.
but it was really not ideal. And, you know, by the age of 15, I was living in an apartment in town, so I could be close to school and work. And I'm, you know, my sophomore year in high school, my boyfriend told me that he was going to kill himself.
You're a
And
sophomore?
yeah, I was a sophomore in high school, had this boyfriend. My parents didn't know I had the boyfriend, wasn't probably supposed to. And he told me he was going to kill himself.
That's
And
heavy.
I would tell him, don't say that. Oh, don't say that. You know, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I lived pretty far from town. High school was, you know, pretty far out. And so when I went home, like from my apartment for the weekend to be with the family, and the weekend that he passed. And so it was long distance. And back in those days, you know, people didn't call long distance unless there was something urgent. And they had to know your phone number, you know how it
It was
was.
expensive.
It was expensive. So I came back to school on Monday.
Wait,
Go
he
to
did
my
commit
first,
suicide? He did commit suicide?
yeah, just a second. I came back to school on Monday, go to my first period chemistry class. I'm a sophomore,
Mhm.
and sit down, and the teacher gets up and she's very solemn and she announces that Scott's commit suicide and that he's gone. And this is how I found out. So that's one piece to the puzzle of how I ended up with my ex. Fast forward to the summer before my senior year, my best friend is dating my ex's best friend. They've graduated from high school 2 years previously, and they're in the military. And they're 5.5 hours away. So when my best friend's guy would come up for the weekend,
Mhm.
along. They would bring along this guy, and they got tired of him tagging along. So they asked, hey, is there someone for him? So my best friend, Pam, set me up on a blind date. And I went on that blind date and came home, and I was like, no way will I ever go out with this guy again. I called him Dippy. I called him Dippy.
Dippy.
He embarrassed me. He wasn't my type. But every weekend when he would, they would come up, the youth would get together, go to the beach, go to the lake, whatever we were doing, and there he would be, and there he and I would be stuck together because everyone else had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And there came a time when he wrote me a letter to propose. I did not expect to be proposed to. I was supposed to be a foreign exchange student for the next 2 years after graduation, but he proposed in a letter. He sat down at the round table in my kitchen with his head in his arms, and the letter was long, and it said at the end, it's okay if you say no, I'll just disappear, I'll kill myself. I was 17, and I cried for the next 2 weeks. I cried, and I took that letter to my best friend who was, my other best friend who was a junior in high school. And she was like, oh, it's so exciting, it's so romantic, you should say yes. And, I just, I wanted to be loved. I had experienced different things in my life that had left a void in my heart. And my intention was, if I loved him, if I decided to love him, I could save him. So I married him the weekend after I graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing that's how you picture your spouse?
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
What made you have the courage to leave? Because this is Born to Be Brave and about being courageous, the podcast. What gave you the courage? Like, why 25 years later? Why 12 kids later?
Well, some of that story is going to be from my book, so I'm not going to disclose all of that, but there came a time when I had exhausted all of my resources, all of my help, and I was being threatened beyond my abuser. I was being threatened to be separated from my children, I was being threatened to cooperate. And I knew it was my life. Stay and I'm going to lose my life, or leave and I might get away. And so the urgency of that, one of my brothers came and visited. He was very alarmed. He came and visited for a few days, brought his daughter, who was a young girl then, and left alarmed. And he contacted my mother and said, you need to go visit Lesley. And so my mother called and she said, I was wondering if I could come visit you. And I said, okay. And my mom didn't usually come to visit for very long if she did come to visit, but she booked a ticket for 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks. I was just grateful that she was coming over the time of my anniversary, because I felt like that was going to be a safer anniversary for me, a safer situation for me. Because, during those times when there was the celebration, there was a lot of conflict in the home. So my mother came, and she is the one that planted in my head the idea of leaving.
She planted the idea in your head to leave?
Yeah. Yes, she did.
What did you tell your kids?
I gathered my kids that morning. My adult children, I knew. In fact, they helped me. I say adult, they were not adults, but they were young adults. They were 19 and 18. The two oldest in the home at the time. There were 10 in the home. 2 had already left home. And they came. I gathered them together and I told them what was going on. And I was like, what do you think if we leave? And they said, yes, we should. And I called the little ones together. I gathered them to me that morning, and I said to them in, feigned delight, guess what? we're going to go on an adventure. We're going to go on a vacation. Well, of course, vacations and adventures didn't happen much in our home. So they were really excited. I said, here's some suitcases. Just go put all of your things that you want to take in it. And of course, they were like, can I bring my doll? I'm like, oh, yes, put your doll in. Put anything that you want to put in there. Anything that'll fit in your suitcase, put it in. But don't tell anyone, it's our secret. And so we did it very sneakily, very quietly. Of course, I have an older daughter who helped the girls, which mostly I had little girls that would giggle and squeal and let things out. So she kept them under control. And we got all of their things packed up in a matter of an hour. In that hour, my son went and rented a 4x5 U-Haul for all the luggage because my children filled my 15-passenger van. There was no room for luggage. So we took our clothes. We took a few little things, like I took my favorite pictures, and as fast as we could pack, you can imagine what got left behind. Mm-hmm. We left a 5,500 square foot home.
Wow. And then you moved into a tent.
Yes, I had a 10-man tent. And once I was at the campgrounds, there was someone who loaned me one of those little RVs that it's not an RV. It's a trailer that sits on the back of a pickup truck, where camper, the bed goes over. Yeah. So we had that, and I had a queen size or double bed that would go over the top, and I just lined the littles up in there. I think we had 5 or 6 kids sleeping up there, and there was the table that made into a bed, and me and the youngest slept in that, and there was a girl on the couch, the couch is more like a bench, and then one on the floor. So if anyone had to go to the bathroom in the night, we all had to get up so that they could get to the bathroom, the potty.
I have and this is a pretty serious subject for people who are listening, right? That are in abusive relationships, because there are people listening to this podcast and to this YouTube channel who are silently suffering. What advice do you have for them?
My biggest piece of advice is to remember who you are. Remember who you are. The things that you're being told are not anything close to who you are. There's more for you beyond your situation, and nothing is too big for God. If you have an opportunity to leave, take it, and don't look back. You won't be able to change and become who your abuser needs you to be. You're not going to fix it. I spent 25 years changing myself and becoming someone different, even becoming a Mennonite to fix it. And in the end, I lost myself. I mean, she was still there, but she was buried, and I had to uncover her and resuscitate her and bring her back. But no matter how far into abuse you are, you can be recovered, you can be resuscitated, and you can be returned. Things will come to you. There will be an opportunity if you look for it. Don't hold on to the things of this world. Hold those things loosely, because your life matters more than a baby book or a photo album or all the furniture in the home, or the disappointed looks maybe your parents might have of, oh, you didn't make it work. Oh, we knew this is how you would turn out. None of that matters. What matters is that you get to a safe place and you get help. And there's places that can help you. My first place to go was the Women's Refuge Center in California. And those people helped me on the path to getting the restraining order and getting custody of my kids. And for years he told me, they tell you, no one will believe you. No one will listen to you. It's your fault. You're crazy. But the truth is that's all a lie, and you know it. And those people will listen to you. They're educated to understand and to know, and they have the tools and resources to help you. So don't hesitate to go to one of them, and don't think he or she's going to find you and take you back. Because once you're out of it, you're out. Don't look back. Don't go back. Don't think that they're going to change and that honey sweet voice that you hear over the line or in person is the truth, because you know it's a lie. You know that you know that you know. Trust your heart. Trust everything inside of you. Trust your intuition. And believe in yourself. Believe you're worth it, because you are. You know, Colleen, if you saw a picture of me back then, you would not believe that it's me.
Really?
I look really old. Right now I'm 55.
Mhm.
I look 55 when I'm 35, when I'm 32. You would not know it.
I'm going to have you send me one of those pictures so when we promote this, we can show people the transformation.
Okay.
It's it is amazing how what's going on in the inside is reflected on the outside, because
Absolutely.
you're so beautiful and radiant to me now. When I heard your story, I fell in love with you,
Oh,
because I don't want to cry too. I don't really cry on here. I've never cried on here. I just know that you chose yourself. You drew a line in the sand, and you had the courage in a defining moment when you said, I'm no longer going to live like this. And you took massively courageous action, and you freaking went for it. You didn't have a plan. You didn't know what the hell you're doing, but you freaking left. You took imperfect action. You said, I'm the hell out of here. Everyone pack up. We're going on a vacation. Let's freaking go. And holy crap, like you did it. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, woohoo, right?
yes. And you know, it's been 12 years. It's been 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for your words, because it's still sometimes we forget when, like, if someone's listening and they have left, but they're still living in the head space of abuse. Because when you leave, your head space is the most important thing to take care of after going, because what you've been told your whole life, or your whole abuse. I mean, for me, it was pretty much my whole life. Those words were replaying over and over in my head and creating my reality. And they were not the truth, and they were not who I am. So what you see today, the reason why you feel that emotion rise up, is because the slate has been wiped clean.
Mm-hmm.
I have had a fresh start, and I've chosen to walk away from the wheels that were turning in my mind. You know, our mind is such a powerful, powerful piece, and it's been created like a huge hardwired computer. You know, our mind has 1 million neurons, but then it has 1 million, bajillion, trillion, million, I think I'm saying that right, receptors.
Yeah. Receptors.
It's like a huge, huge highway. And what we allow in our brain is so important. And we have the ability, and it's so easy. It's like this, to turn off the things that are going on in our brain when they're coming from the space of abuse and the space of things that are untrue. We can stop it. We can put a halt to it. And that's what I'm passionate about now, is that restart, that reset, that new beginning button.
How do people do
Getting
it?
all like, I get so excited about it.
How do people do it? Like, let's say they haven't even been through abuse, or they're in an abusive relationship, right? Or they've just escaped it. Or let's just say they have toxic thoughts that are negative and bringing them down and not serving them well. Because that's my big thing, is you have to get control over this first before you can do anything else. How do people, what would you recommend? What would you tell them to do? What are the first steps of getting to rewiring this, reprogramming your computer and the stories you're telling yourself, and not rehashing all this crap? How can people do that?
Yeah, so I say do a brain dump, number one. Do a brain dump, take a piece of paper and start writing out those things that are going on through your head. And it's not going to feel good. Mm-hmm. It's going to feel real lousy, because in writing it out, it's right there in black and white. Mm-hmm. You know, the reason why I say this is because our brain, we have like, they say like 12,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
Every day.
Every day. 80% of those thoughts are negative. 95% of them are repeated day after day after day. But you know that in one day we could fill a whole book with our thoughts. The question is would we want anyone to read that book? How much of that book would we want them to read? And how much of it is true? So by writing down these thoughts that are just repeating over and over in your head, you might fill up half a page, you might fill a whole page, you might fill several pages. Write it down and then go through, and rewrite what you really would like to create. So if your thought is, I'm fat, I'm dumb, rewrite. I have a strong, thin body. I'm strong. I'm brilliant. I'm amazing. Rewrite those things that are going through your brain and do it as many times as you need. But that's the first step. That's a number one thing, is to identify the thoughts.
Identify
because for
them.
me, for me, it was very vague at first, because I was so accustomed to the things that had been said about me. You're stupid, you're dumb, oh my goodness, get up, for crying on a crutch, you're just clumsy, you're just stupid, you're just dumb, it's just a pity that red hair, it's just, oh my gosh, if people knew about you, just the things that would be said over and over. I mean, it would be I could write it down for you and make a huge book of all these horrible things that they're just not true about me.
Yeah.
I'm not dumb. I'm very articulate. I'm smart. I don't make up things. I'm very honest and pure. The things that go through our heads are things that we've been programmed into from the very beginning. It can start from completely back when we're brand new. We're born with this empty blueprint. And from the very first thing that gets said, oh, it's a girl. Oh, it's a girl, to all the way through our lives. Oh, she's not doing so well. I don't know if she's going to make it into the 3rd grade. Whatever gets said about us. Oh, she kind of seems like she takes off this side of the family. She's kind of fat. All those things, they're like this voice in our head because of all those neurons and all those pathways that keep sending all the messages through, telling the world and telling ourselves that we're nothing. And that's what we tend to focus on. We tend to focus on those negative things. So in writing out those negative things and rewriting them, we can change our focus, and what we focus on expands and becomes reality. And the reality is that we're all just amazing, that we are created for something wonderful and beautiful and unique. There's no one in this world exactly like any of us. There's no one like Colleen. There's no one like Lesley. There's no one like John. It's actually amazing.
It is amazing, right?
Yeah.
What else should people do besides a brain dump and a rewriting? What else?
Well, if I give away my whole,
Oh yeah.
all my teaching to you right here.
Yeah. Question for you. I have a question for you. Tell us about you. We haven't talked about this. You're a transformational teacher and you help people.
Yes.
And you do Color Me Unstoppable, right?
Yes.
Tell us.
That's my coaching program, is Color Me Unstoppable.
So tell us about that. And then you had one other thing that was Come Alive, or?
Yes, Come Alive with Lesley. That's my free workshop.
Okay, so you have a free workshop. Tell us about your free workshop, and then tell us about your paid one and kind of what they are.
Okay, my free workshop is a 90-minute Zoom call, much like this. And in that 90 minutes, we go over the tools you need to come alive, to really ignite your inner self and to really believe who you really are. It's just really fun, interactive. I have lots of tools and techniques to help you tap into how your brain works and how your thought processes affect your entire life. So that's a fun workshop. We get to connect with each other. And when women come together in connection and community, that's where transformation happens. So it's a place to get support. It's a place to just be introduced to what I believe in and how I've overcome so much in my life.
So it's a 90-minute workshop and you offer it several times a year.
Yes, usually at the beginning of every month.
And then it's free.
Yes.
So people have this free introduction to you. And then from there, if they wanted, or even from this interview, if they want to go straight into coaching with you, and into your workshop, tell us a little bit about that. That's where it's about the colors, right?
Well, okay. So from the Come Alive, I offer a free one-on-one clarity call. And that's where we can really understand if this is something you would want to do, if you would want to move forward, and understand more about you and what your needs are. But with Color Me Unstoppable, that's the 4-month program. And in there, we unveil and awaken the secret gifts that are inside of you. I help women just kiss defeat goodbye forever.
Kiss defeat goodbye. Woohoo!
You'll learn to be able to take a seat at the table. Do you know what I mean? Instead of playing in the background and playing small, you're going to take a seat at the table. When you speak, you're going to be heard. And we're going to just really remove all doubt and get really clear on your gifts and who you truly are and who you were truly created to be. And that's what Color Me Unstoppable is about.
And it's a 4-month program, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I have a free mini course on my page, and you were talking about the colors. I have a thing about colors. And, colors are vibrationally, they're on different vibration lengths. And we can use color, which I have used color in my life to identify different things in my life that I want to create. Different colors have different meanings, and it's all so interesting and scientific, but yet delightful because it's color. So I have a free color mapping course that you can just go on and download and print and go through on your own to start to create the momentum for what you would love to create in your life. Like if you want to create more joy, you want to create more aliveness, there's tools there for you to begin and to just understand that color has vibration. We're all energetic, right? The whole world is energetic. And when we surround ourselves with the energies of what we want to create, it really can expedite that outcome.
Where do people find this?
You can find me at www.lesleyrosas.com.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's interesting. I really believe color really impacts us. And when my son was diagnosed with cancer, my house was red, yellow with some green, very bright, very bold, just a lot. And I decided that I needed to come home to a really peaceful home. And I did blues, seafoam greens, neutral, a lot of pewters and it's amazing how the whole house and, changing all the furniture, everything to these neutrally, earthy, beachy colors. And it's transformed the feeling of the home. And it would just be such a refuge and a place of peace. And I must have been in a different place when I did the reds. I loved the reds and the yellows and the greens when I did them, when my life was more peaceful. But when my life wasn't peaceful, I didn't want my house to be so vibrant and bright. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Kind of. Have you ever gone shopping and found that you came home and everything you bought was a certain color?
Yeah, I really gravitate to a couple colors. Yes.
Yeah. We usually, and over the years, it can change. We usually are gravitated toward what we need most of. So different colors have different meanings. And like, for example, orange is the happiest color. It vibrates very high, much like a red. It's the highest vibrating color. And it creates joy, happiness. Most people don't necessarily pick an orange because, the average person doesn't believe they deserve complete happiness. So it's amazing. Just like I've gone to town before and came home and I'm just like, everything I bought was blue. Like I just kept buying, like finding blue things. And it's not because the store had more blue. It's because I needed more calmness in my life. We automatically gravitate toward the colors that we need and the colors that kind of speak to our psyche, speak to our heart, speak to what we're,
That's
the
very
vibration that we're
interesting.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because probably today I like orange again. Yeah, and the reds. The reds don't bother me, but at that moment in time, the red had to go.
Mm-hmm. Too much.
Yeah, it was too much. It was the yellows and the reds and the it was just, I walked in
Mm-hmm.
my house, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's too overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting, huh? I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. You ever notice that if you're having a depressed day, you'll go put on some kind of fuddy-duddy outfit?
Gosh, that's so true. That is so
You want
true.
to change it up, add play, put your playful scarf on or your thing that you just love that lights you, that favorite purple shirt or whatever it is. And someone will say, this morning I came out, I had something else on. And my boys were like, where are you going today? I said, I'm not going anywhere. I have a couple of calls today. I want to feel good.
I love it. It really does impact us. In fact, I was just thinking, we didn't really talk about your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have 12 biological children.
I do.
Yeah, you birthed 12 children. So
Yes. And I had the last 8 at home.
the last 8 at home.
Yes. I had 12 natural births, the last 8 at home.
Holy smokes,
And then
girlfriend.
I have my extra kids,
Yeah, your
my
bonus
bonus kids,
children. How many bonus children do you have?
5. So there's a
5.
combined blended family because I'm remarried now to the love of my life. And I attracted this man in. I wrote down exactly what he would look like, what he would be like. And Colleen, when I met him,
Mm-hmm.
so I had written this down and I had spent like every evening after I put the children to bed, I was very lonely. And this is when I was a single mom. And I would spend time just thinking about this man and how he would be, and would there even be a man like this in the world? And the first time I met Augie, I walked into the Starbucks where we had set up to meet, and I rounded the corner to peek at him, and I stepped back and I said, I had my 18-year-old son with me, and I said, that's the guy I've been imagining. He was like, what? I was like, never mind.
For real?
For
What
real.
were you looking for?
What was I looking for?
Yeah, what were you looking for? What was important to you? Like your ideal man?
Okay, so physically, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted a guy about my height, not someone who would overpower me.
Mm-hmm.
Strong,
Mm-hmm.
dark, brown eyes. I call them chocolate eyes. Dark hair, little mustachy goatee thing going on here,
Uh-huh.
and just a very kind and pure heart.
Kind and pure
And
heart.
yes, and there were other attributes.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to write down no kids. I just added that for a joke.
And then how many kids does Augie have?
He has 5.
So he has 5, you have 12. So now you have 17.
I have 12.
So 17 between you.
Yes, there's 11 boys and 6 girls.
Holy smokes. Isn't that crazy? And then tell me about,
Yes.
obviously at this point, you must have a boatload of grandkids too.
Well, now I do.
Mm-hmm.
The last 10 years, there's 14 grandchildren and 3 more on the way. By April, there'll be 17.
Now, when you met Augie, did he know you had 12 kids? I mean, did that scare anyone?
Yes, by the time we met online, and when you fill out those little online dating places, it has like 5. One of the options is 5+ kids. So we had each put that down.
Uh-huh.
And so we knew when we met that we each had a few kids.
Mm-hmm.
But some kids can grow up and leave home, and there's just little details that you're not sure about. And so when we first talked, we discovered that I had 12, which he thought was amazing, and that he had 5. And we decided that we would be friends and just encourage each other. Augie was raising his kids pretty much on his own. And I had 8 of my 12 at that time at home. So it seemed like a little bit of an overwhelming task to put them together. And it didn't seem very likely that it could be successful.
So what shifted? You're just going to be friends. You decided
We were
just
just going to be friends, but you know, we fell in love. We fell in love with each other. And there was just no denying that. I lived 6.5 hours away, and we decided to get married. We decided to get married and put our family together. And, you know, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, because together we were stronger. Together we were better parents. Together we were more grounded, happier. You know, we had a teammate on our side, which neither of us had ever experienced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone in your corner.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Another question. I have a lot of questions for you. I'm so excited to interview you because you're just, to me, just an amazing person. So
thank you.
Now you're married.
Mm-hmm. There's 12 kids at home.
12 kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
When you're feeling your energy is low, right? Or when a person who's listening to this interview is feeling like their energy is low, how can they pivot and shift? Do you have any habits, like daily habits or routines, that help you stay positive, be the mother to 12 children and 14 grandchildren with 3 more on the way? Like, what are your daily habits and routines that help you be your best version of yourself and not lose your sanity?
Yeah, well, our words are so powerful and our thoughts are so powerful. Every morning when I get out of bed, you know, the first thing I think when I wake up is, you know, and a lot of us do this, is, oh no, what I got to do today? And I shifted that to yes. So when I wake up, the first thing I say is, yes, another day's here, another day to be alive. So it's going to be an amazing day. And I stand up, and I put my hands up in the air, and I say, thank you. And then I scoop up that gift of life and I hold it to my heart, and I give gratitude for a minute. And then I walk shakily and squeakily, because my little joints go crack, snap, pop as I go to the bath.
Crack, snack, and pop. We're the same age, so yes. I know exactly. I watched that commercial.
But you know, it's, what do you want to create in your life? You know, I can look back on my life and I can look at 12 kids and 5 more, and I just can't, and it's so much, and I'm so tired. But then I create that in my life. Like, let's just do this together, Colleen. Let's just say out loud, I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
Say it one more time. I'm just so tired.
I'm so tired. And
immediately you feel that shift in your body.
I felt a lot more tired the second time we said it.
Yeah.
I mean, like a huge, like, boom.
Yes. Because your body just dumped your brain. You just told your brain you're tired. So your body just dumped the, oh goodness, I can't think of the hormone, the sleep hormone, melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel tired instantly. So you can go to sleep because you told your brain that you're tired and you need rest. Mm-hmm. So now say, lift your hands, because people don't do this naturally.
Oh, see, I just yawned.
Let's fix
literally,
that.
I just
felt fix that. Let's bring it up quick. So
okay.
Put your hands in the air like this and say, I am excited.
I am excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
And now how do you feel?
I feel excited and energetic again.
Yes. So I do that a lot because it just brings up your dopamine and your serotonin. Mm-hmm. And so I speak into my life what I want to create. And I want to be more energetic. I speak more energy into my life. I surround myself with colors that make me feel energetic. I move my body every day. And if I don't go to the gym or I can't get out for a walk, I do jump squats where I squat down, touch the ground, jump up in the air, woo, and I go, woo, woo, and I do it 20 times.
Wow.
When I'm done, my heart's racing and I'm like, I'm alive. It feels so good to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind is created to respond to what we tell it.
Yeah. So you get up, you're grateful for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Heck yes.
Yes.
You exercise.
I scoop up that energy and bring it to my heart, because our heart is the gift, right? As long as our heart's beating, we have life.
Mm-hmm. So gratitude for your heart and your life and the life force that your heart's giving you, right? And your breath.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You move your body.
Yes.
You're the gatekeeper of your thoughts, it sounds like.
Yes.
You're paying attention to what you're telling yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Or is that's a great way to start.
I get lots of hugs.
Hugs?
I get lots of hugs. I give lots of hugs. I give lots of hugs, because when I feel a heaviness come upon me, a hug always shakes it up, whether it's hugging the children or hugging my husband or just hugging myself,
Yeah. Oh, I like
lots of
that.
hugs.
I love hugs. I'm a big hugger.
I know. I know you are.
I love hugs. I really, I don't know. Something happens when you hug somebody that, I don't know, it's just heart to heart and something happens. And there's a good energy there.
It's a transfer.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, if you could tell your 20-year-old self anything, right? 20, 25-year-old self, or to the people who are listening, what would you say to that person? What would you tell her?
I would tell her it's all going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're enough, and it's all going to be okay.
You're enough.
You can choose you. It's okay. Don't apologize.
Don't apologize. Choose yourself.
You're already there. You're already enough.
Do you feel like
it's all going to be okay?
It's all going to be okay. Choose yourself. Don't apologize for it. Generationally, like you said, your parents taught you the best they could, right?
Yeah.
My parents taught me the best they could. All our parents are just doing the best they can, but so many weird things get passed down generationally to us that don't serve our families well and don't serve ourselves, for us to be our best version of ourselves. And I think to myself, like, for me, like, you're a hero because you stopped generationally. Like, the generations from you down will be forever impacted with the massive changes that you have implemented. How important do you feel like coaching is in helping you transform your life, and for other people? Like, I just wonder, because some people think, oh, coaching, what is that? And how important do you think coaching is?
That's a good question. Well, I can tell you that, and I said this earlier, but when women come together in community and connection, and I'm talking about true connection, shoulder to shoulder in equality. And that's what my coaching program is about, equality. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. We're all the same. We all came into this world the same way. When we come together in connection and community, that's where transformation takes place. When we have the true support and we share each other's gifts, we share what we know with each other, that's where transformation takes place. On my own, I could do this. So in my community, I can rock this. Yeah. At any given moment, I can call my coach. I can call, my tribe. And these are people I can call on that are there for me. They're not rolling their eyes. They're not talking behind my back. They're not judging me. I have a seat at the table. I have a voice and I'm heard. And that's what coaching's about. or my coaching, my style is you have a seat at the table. If you're in my program, you're heard. What you have to say is it matters. And even if you're off track, even if you're not on the right track, I want to hear it, because then I can help get you in a better mindset, in a better track. I showed up to my coach, and the first few times I shared my story, I was so ashamed. And through my coaching, I learned that my story is my gift. It's a gift. I survived all of those years and all of that abuse. And I have become unstoppable so that I can help other women do the same. That's what I'm here for. That's what I came here for. And that's what makes me feel alive and ignited. So when we discover and unlock the true gift of our lives, and we transform into that person who just loves our lives and loves the gifts that we're being given. I mean, Colleen, look at you. You have such a gift of leading people to talk to you and share connections. When we're doing what we love and we're doing what we came here for, that's where transformation takes place. And so I help women discover that, to really tap into who they are and what they're here for.
Yeah,
in the community.
In the community. And it's interesting because I've done coaching, just one-on-one coaching in real estate for years, like hired one-on-one coaching. And then I I felt like God called me to to join Maya's group. I felt compelled, led, pulled, whatever you want to call it. I found her, right? And I stepped into your group, into this group setting with all of you. And it was the first time, besides like being with my husband and my family here, but the first time in a group setting where I don't really know any of you, I felt comfortable and safe to be vulnerable enough to share everything about myself. Yes. Everything. Like yes. Nothing hidden.
And when you left, did you feel ashamed? Or did you feel empowered?
I felt empowered.
Yeah.
I felt like I was freaking on fire and I could do anything, and that I found my divine calling. And like, it was just like, I found my friends. I found my people. I found, it was crazy. And literally, like, you guys know the truth, like that I don't even know how to I do now, but up until I didn't even know how to turn on a computer. Like I was ashamed, just like you said, ashamed. Like I would never admit that to anybody, and never, because it's embarrassing. And it's so funny because John would always do all of that for me. And so would Sarah, who does all our technology and paperwork for us. So I could not evolve. I could be who I was and have my level of success. And nobody would know that there's this huge part of me that most people know how to operate a computer. It's pretty standard operating procedure, right? And I don't even know how to turn it on. Like, that's mind blowing. And then when the pandemic came, and of course, everything moved online, that made my life, I felt even worse, right? Because now I'm like, oh, everything's on Zoom and I don't even know how to turn this damn thing on. And it's so funny. I just decided once I got in the group, and I'm like, I got to figure this crap out because I'm stuck. I can't move forward because the whole world is in this computer out there, the connection, and because of the pandemic, right? I got to figure this out. But it was amazing how I shared with you guys stuff I never would tell anyone that. Like, I would stuff that secret way down and no one could know that. Isn't that crazy?
No.
No, because that's how it works in safe communities, right?
Yes, that's right. As a Mennonite, we didn't have TV, radio, computers, cell phone. I didn't have any of that stuff. My girls and I wore only dresses. There were lots of things that were first, and that's one of the things. I mean, I can totally relate, because that's one of the things is I didn't know what Wi-Fi was. I didn't know what to compute, how to the internet. I think we call it the interweb, you know.
Well, yeah,
Like I didn't understand, and I get that. Like it's not something to be ashamed of.
yeah. But it
It's
is.
just a learning curve. It's like I don't know how to ski down a hill. I've never done that. I'm not
Mhm.
ashamed of that. It's just something I've never done.
Yeah. And that's okay. And look at the perspective, the shift in how
Mhm.
you view not knowing something, right?
Yes.
It's totally different, right?
Mhm.
What was I going to tell you? Um, I wanted to ask you another question. I just think that when when we tell us ourselves these weird stories that we tell ourselves, because it's all in our head, you know. Like I'm ashamed that I can't turn on a computer. Well, I can figure out how to turn on a computer. Now I know, right? I know how to do it.
Mhm.
When we tell ourselves these weird stories over time, because I know I heard you say that that what we're telling ourselves is so important. Why? What's the question? I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. What is it that? Why do you think that we? Why do you think that we tell ourselves all these weird stories? Like, and then like like you were there 25 years, right, with your husband, your first husband, and I just think to myself, for 25 years, that you just stayed, and then you decided to leave, and I just think, how can people find their superpower sooner? How can they find their superpower sooner instead of, like, thank God you're still here and you have all this time still. Every
Yeah.
day is a gift, right? And you wake up and you're spreading love and light and helping so many people every day now. But how can people who are listening to this going, well, that Lesley's awesome. Like Lesley's awesome. Colleen's awesome. They're just like these awesome women. But for me personally, because I feel like people feel like this when you're listening
Oh,
to
yeah.
people,
Mhm.
but that doesn't apply to me. They don't understand my unique circumstance. They don't understand that I'm not like them. I can't do that. I
Mhm.
can't just do that.
Mhm.
What do you say to that? How can people find their superpower sooner?
Well, you know, again, it's really just the decision of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you say I can't, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
I had a school teacher that used to say, can't means won't try. And so, you know, often we put up resistance to what it's a paradigm. It's something that we are hung up on. We have a fear surrounding it. You know, like maybe I could never leave. I'm in this abuse and I could never leave because the fear is too great. And that was me. The fear was too great. And it wasn't only the fear of being, you know, being stopped, but also the fear of failing. I had set in my mind an intention that when my parents got divorced, that I would never be divorced, that
Mm.
wasn't an option, that divorce wouldn't happen unless you made it an option. And that was a motto that I talked about. I shared. Divorce never happens unless you make it an option. So I was committed. I was 100% committed to a fault, you know. But our mind, your question was, how can you expedite that?
Mm-hmm.
Start being really, really, really aware of how you're thinking and why. Why would you think that Lesley or Colleen would be better than you? We all were born with each of us with our own circumstances, with our own backgrounds, with our own set of problems. What I'd rather you think is, if Lesley could do that, if Colleen could do that, then I could. Then heck yeah, I could.
That is so great. Heck yeah, you can. If you're listening to us, we see greatness in you and we believe in you,
Yeah, that's right. That's
right?
right. Yes. Because, you know, this little girl here, I grew up out in the woods. I grew up way out in the country. Used to have to take a two-man boat across the river to go to school and then walk about a half a mile to a garage, change my clothes, walk another half a mile, meet the school bus, take a 45-minute trip into school, and do it all in reverse on the way home. I grew up in a, you know, a situation where I was known at school as, you know, Lesley's a dumpster diver, because there was a dump near our home. And my parents used to go to the dump and dig around in it and get clothing and things for us. So I was the dumpster diver. I was born with this unfortunate red hair that back in the day, when in the 60s, when I was a girl, you know, redheads were considered not very pretty.
Mhm.
And so people would say, oh, she's so beautiful, pity that red hair.
Mhm.
I had something wrong with my legs. I had to wear braces on my legs as a kid. And I grew up in up in Northern California, where it rains all the time. So my braces would squeak. So everywhere I would go, you could hear Lesley coming. And then I have this unfortunate situation where I marry this man who just does not turn out to be a very good situation. And, you know, I could go on and on, Colleen. So if someone is comparing to me, then let's compare in truth, and know that doesn't matter. Your story doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the crap you've been through or what you've done in your life. You are magnificent. You were created for something so much more. And you can turn it around. You can turn it around. All you have to do is just decide. Just decide. Start making a plan. Start dreaming. Dream
Yeah.
about what you would like to create in your life.
One decision away.
One decision away from changing your entire life.
One decision.
That's right.
And I think about even that one decision. You know, there's so many times we try and talk ourselves out of stuff, and just do it. Just step into it. And you don't
That's
have
right.
to be that person anymore. You're not Lesley from the dumpster diver. You're not, you
No.
have, and your hair is gorgeous,
Thank you.
right?
Yeah.
And we have a book coming out. We're both in a book coming out.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Tell me about the book.
Love Speaks. It is being put out by our coach, Maya Camarado, and it comes out December 7th. In fact, are you coming to the launch? So I'll be in
Yeah.
LA for a book launch.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, it's just a compilation of 44 impactful stories that will actually blow your mind.
Yeah. I mean, like, mind blown.
Woman after woman after woman who has gone through something in their lives and come up out of on the other side with this power that's incredible. It just gives me chills because it opens the door for others to see that they're not alone. You know, like, you are not alone in your journey. You're not alone in your story. You're not alone in your life. Like, sorry, my phone is going off.
This is real life, people. We're real life people here.
I threw it across the room. Yeah, we all have our story, and our story is impactful. We can take hard things and make them into something beautiful.
Yeah, it's called When Love Speaks, and it'll be available December 7th. And the global book launch is December 8th. So I'm excited about that.
Yes.
And then I know it's so we're going to be published authors. That's amazing. It's on my mirror.
You'll be able to find it in. Can you hear this alarm?
Just now. Mm-hmm.
I threw it away. Now I can't turn it off. Just a minute.
Yeah, just go get it. See, guys, this is real life. We're just real people. That book it's called When Love Speaks by Maya Camarado. She's our coach. It's 44 inspirational and impactful stories of triumph. It'll be a great gift. Each story is about 3 minutes long, and it makes it so it's nice. You can just read a little here, a little there. You can read the whole thing all at once, whatever you want. It'll be a great holiday gift. It's a great for yourself, and you can buy it for other people, you know. Yeah, I hope people will buy it. And even if it's past the holidays when you hear this, because, you know, this will live on YouTube and for infinity and beyond, and on the podcast. I do want to talk about something I saw on your Facebook. You were at a retreat in Minnesota,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I saw you jump into a cold lake. And
Yes.
I want you to tell me about your experience, because this is a thing people do, the cold water, the ice plunges, the polar plunges, and the Wim Hof breathing. Can you
Mhm.
tell me just a little bit about it and how it impacted your life?
I'll tell you briefly that up until now, I've hated cold water. I don't like to be cold. As a natural redhead, we feel cold, we feel pain, we feel hot and cold more than most people. There's a little tidbit there. But my husband knows that I hate to be cold. Like if we go to the snow or anything, I'll get out for a minute, but keep the truck running because I want to get back in and stay warm. And make sure we take the one with the heated seats.
Yeah.
So when everyone said that we're going to do Wim Hof at the retreat, we're going to jump in the cold water, I told my husband, I ordered this zip up long sleeve swim top because it's winter time and we're going to jump in the lake in Wisconsin. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am. He's like, really, babe? That doesn't sound like you. I said, I know, but I'm going to do it. I've set my mind. I'm going to do it. And so I decided that I was going to do this. And I showed up and there were opportunities for me to back out. Over and over, it was like, if you're going to jump in the lake, then you need to be here at such and such a time. And that morning that we were going, the wind came up and started blowing. And I'm there, I've got my sweatpants on and my hooded sweatshirt, and have this big like woolly jacket over it all and my swimsuit underneath. And I'm thinking, I got my winter boots on. And I'm thinking, ooh, what did I get myself into? But always the coach, always the encourager. There's this gal and she's like, Lesley, are you going to do that? And I said, yeah. I set my intention. I told Augie I'm going to do it. And she's like, I don't think I'm gonna. How are you going to do that? And I said, well, I'm going to say yes. And she's like, what? And I said, the whole time that I get in the water, I'm going to say yes. And so she was like, what do you mean? I said, okay, say no. You can try this, Colleen. Just say no.
No.
No. It feels so, no is a constricted word. It folds us in and it takes away our energy. It's tiring. It's like saying I'm tired. No. If you say yes, it's an open word. It opens us up. And like I said, our words and our mindset are so powerful. So she's like, well, okay, that's good. I said, when I get in the water, you can go in with me. I'm just going to say yes, 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 the whole time, because yes creates energy and energy keeps us warm. And she was like, okay, well, maybe I'll do it with you. So she decided she's going to do it. So now I really have to do it. And so we get up there and I put my feet in to start. And oh my gosh, it's cold, Colleen. And she grabs a hold of my shoulder and I start saying yes and walking ahead. And she like starts to kind of almost trip. And we both just get in like, yes, yes, yes. So we got into about here, which they suggested just get into here to start, because, all the way under just at first, because it's so cold, can be very shocking. And they told us, you're going to go when you get in. And I was like, no, I'm not. Oh, it's a natural response. So we get into here and we said yes. And she said, that's as far as I'm going to go. And I said, oh, you're going to regret it. You've come this far. Just say yes. And as I said, just say yes. She said, yes. And she went to here and I went with her. And then I said to her, I'm going to go all the way. And she's like, no, I can't. I said, just say yes. Just say yes. Yes, 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 yes. And I started doing it. I said, yes, yes, yes. And I laid back in the water and I heard her go under and she came up and she was like, yes, I did it. Yes, yes, I did it. But as we got out of the water, what the great thing about this story is she turned to me and she hugged me and she said, Lesley, she said, every time I said yes, I got warm. And I said, yeah, because that's the energy that positive things create in our body. And our words are so powerful. Take that with you in your life. Every time we say yes to ourselves, every time we say a positive thing for ourselves, it creates this positive energy inside of our body. And you jump in some cold water and do it, and you really notice it. because I didn't feel very cold either. And I got out, I felt exhilarated.
Isn't that a powerful message
Yes.
and analogy? And then tell me about this Wim Hof breathing. Did you do that in the water before or after?
We did it before, and I did do it a little bit in the water because our timer was set for 2 minutes. I think we were in for 2 or 3 minutes. And so it's just that you can look it up on YouTube. It's a form of breathing where you take in your breath and you out your breath at certain times and certain counts, and you hold for certain amounts. And because you're focusing on your breathing, it shifts your focus away from what's happening, and it also warms you up and just gives you ability to control your mindset. So instead of like the the panic, it's you're focusing in. So first breath we did, and then he told us to go ahead and hold it and start the Wim Hof there. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that, like I said, and okay.
It's automatic, right? It's an automatic response.
Yes, it is. And some of the gals, you know, after they had gone in like that, you probably saw pictures, they ran and jumped off the end of the pier. I didn't realize anyone was going to do that. I would have loved to join them, but I actually went up the hill so I could take video and photos of what was happening. And we just observed, because we went in groups, observed some of my friends going in and cheering them on. And it was just a wonderful sense of accomplishment for all of us.
Isn't it nice to do stuff that kind of scares us a little or is uncertain or unknown, and then you realize, I did that and it was great?
Yes, we should do that often.
Often.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, even if it doesn't feel like it. Here's another question I love to ask people. Is there something I should have asked you that I haven't asked you that would be good for you to share with the people who are listening to this that they could benefit from, because you are rich, have a lot of rich experiences? What else should I ask you, and what else should I have you share about that would be impactful for all of us?
Well, the other thing I do share in my free workshop that I think is really powerful about the mind is that the mind controls pain as well. You know, there's a lot out there about pain in our bodies and illnesses and disease, and how, you know, disease comes from dis-ease in our body, which can come from, you know, like trauma, like myself, living in like a fight or flight mode. And I as a coach for moms that are having their babies, so it's called a doula. I coach moms when they're giving birth.
You do that?
And yes. And
our daughter has a doula.
Yeah, they're great.
I never heard of it before until our daughter had a baby.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. So for myself, you know, I was in a situation where a lot of my life I didn't have a choice about, you know, natural birth. And I believe now, you know, having been through 12 natural births, I believe that it is the best mode of operation and whenever possible. But one thing that I teach is the power of your mind over pain. So if you want to take for a minute and take your inner arm here and pinch it. Go ahead and pinch it. Pinch it. Like, I don't want you to bruise yourself, but pinch it hard enough that it hurts pretty good. Find that place where it just really hurts. Now say ow.
Ow.
Ow. Ow, 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 ow,
ow, ow, ow, ow.
You want to make it stop. Don't stop. Now say, that's an interesting sensation.
That's an interesting sensation. Oh, it doesn't hurt anymore. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So when you have pain in your body, now I know that, you know, there's pain, and then there's like incredible pain that from something that isn't going to go away per se. Let's say I haven't lived through chronic, horrible pain in my life, thank God. But so what I share here is, maybe you're not going to have completely no pain, but in changing how you visit and talk about your pain, just like you say you're tired, just like you say you're no good, you just, you know, the things that we create in our body. So when we said we told our brain it really, really hurts. But then if we said that was an interesting sensation, we took the association away from pain and shifted it in our mind. So we do that same thing in real life when we have something that's bothering us, like a throbbing arm or joint pain or a headache. Just changing how we talk about it and speak to our body, sending love and sending light to our body, we can change the way that we feel.
Very interesting. I hadn't really thought about that because, I did natural childbirth with my first kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely against the epidural idea.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not even sure where that idea came from now. Anyway, but it is amazing how you can, like I did 30 hours of hard labor without an epidural, and through proper coaching, I took a class on how to do it. You can do it.
You focus on your breath.
Yeah. It was breathing. It was all breathing.
Yes.
And I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I do with my moms is when they hit that threshold where they think they can't go anymore,
Mm-hmm.
there's a few tools, but that's one of the tools. And so I tell them, remember what we say. We say, this is an interesting situation. This is an interesting sensation.
Yeah.
Wow. That feels interesting.
That feels interesting. This is an interesting sensation.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful. You guys say that to yourselves. This is an interesting sensation. That's an interesting situation, right? That's what you say to them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an interesting situation. It's an interesting sensation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've come into moms that are screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And in a matter of a few minutes of talking, I can shift that with them. They shift it themselves. I just assist their brain.
It is amazing how we can shift our state when we're either guided, right? We're either guided or we have the tools and we walk ourselves through it.
Mm-hmm.
We can shift in any situation.
Mm-hmm. So there's 3 ways in the brain that I teach. There's the physical, it's the imagination,
Mm-hmm.
and what we tell ourselves. Our words. Our words, like yes, 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 yes. I'm excited. Life is good. That's the words, the sensations. There's the pinching, the pain point, and the imagination, which I can teach that in my workshop. If you want to come to my workshop, I'll teach you about your imagination. And in a minute, I can teach you how fantastically your imagination can shift what you believe.
Isn't that good, you guys? I'm telling you, your imagination is very important.
Yes.
Lesley can help teach you and help you unlock it and help me, all of us.
You're coming, right, Colleen?
Yeah, I should probably do that. I should sign up. It is amazing how powerful, just like you said, the physical mind, the imagination, and then the stories you tell yourself, your words in your mind. I always say the mind's an interesting place. Don't go there alone.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, but
I think it's very important to go there alone.
Yeah, it is actually, it is really important to go there alone, right?
Yeah. I understand what you're getting at.
I'm talking about tools. Take tools with you to process what you're experiencing.
That's right. That's
what I'm talking about. I mean, go there alone, but take some time to think about, like, where did that thought come from? Like, I'm really big into questioning our thoughts because we tell ourselves some pretty bizarre stories.
Yes. And again, if they were written in a book, how many of those stories would we want someone to read about us? Gosh. If it was your best friend telling you the thing that you're telling yourself every day over and over, if it was your best friend telling you you're so ugly, look at that stupid mole on your forehead, you would not keep that friend. You would kick them to the curb.
You would get rid of them.
We do that. We tell ourselves horrible stories and fill a book every day with thoughts that are untrue, that are not profitable, and create so much chaos in our lives and in our bodies.
Gosh, that's so true.
And the opposite when we flip that and we start talking and breathing love and encouragement over ourselves, when we transform and we create so many wonderful opportunities and things in our lives. Like, look at me, I'm here talking to Colleen Lowe.
Yeah, I know, I can't believe it. You know, I was telling Therese is another friend of ours, for those of you that don't know, that is from our group. And she went paddleboarding with me like last week. And so did Jennifer Alvarez, which is another friend of ours. And I was telling them when we were paddling, scarcity can really screw with us, because I've always wanted to move away from where I live. I do love it here, but I would like to move. And the reason I'm scared to move previously up until now is because I've lived here, besides going to college, basically my whole life. And I would be worried. I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone. Okay. So I'm worried that if Carter ever had cancer again, you know, if Carter's cancer came back, I have a huge network of friends and family here because I've lived here and I've served here at a high level. Now, I didn't ever serve with the intention that someday my son is going to get really sick and I'm going to need a massive support system. But what happened was, when Carter got sick at the level he was, right, people helped us at a level that was just mind blowing, right? And I realized how much I already knew how much I loved my friends and support network, but the amount of love and support that like surrounded us was huge. And I just thought, if I leave here and I go start somewhere else, I'll be all alone and isolated, and I would not have that, right? And that's such a scarcity mentality. And then I met all of you guys in Maya's group in the Born for This and Born for This Elite coaching and the Contador experience. And what it made me realize is that we can make new friends, meaningful, deep friends, anytime, anywhere, at any point in course of our life, right? And doesn't have to be geographically located. It doesn't have to be. There's amazing people everywhere, and if we put ourselves out there, we can make new friendships anywhere. And it's so freeing, because now I'm like, I can move anywhere.
That's good. Yeah, I was going to say, because if you moved with the mindset that I'm going to be all alone, you will be.
Yeah.
You will be. And if you stay thinking, I'm going to stay in case the cancer comes back, it probably will.
Yeah, which is all craziness. Carter's going to be cancer free forever.
Right.
He's cancer free forever.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So it is just crazy, the weird things we can conjure up that come from, I don't even know where they come from, but it is crazy, the stuff we can tell ourselves, right?
I call it like trying to swim against the stream. It's like getting in a stream and telling your friends, I'm going to meet you down at the bridge. But then the whole time you're swimming upstream. I mean, eventually you'll make it to the bridge, because you're going to tire out and it's going to wash you back that way backwards. By the time you get there, you're not going to be in any decent form to hang out with your friends. You know, we get in a boat, we paddle upstream, paddle and paddle and paddle. And all we have to do is turn the thing around, or turn ourselves around and just drift, just go with the flow of what's happening. And it's all happening for our good.
All of it's happening for our good. The person you are today is because of your experience and journey in an abusive relationship. That you would not be Lesley today without that journey.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. Did I have to go through that journey? For me, I must have had to.
They're inseparable.
But I didn't deserve it. And that's one thing I want to make really clear to anyone who's in abuse. You do not deserve it. And this journey isn't there for you to make you better.
No. And thank you for clarifying that. Because nobody deserves to ever be treated disrespectfully in any way, shape, or form. This at any level. It's not acceptable. And I'm really glad you clarified that, because that is so important, because I think that I don't understand it because I've never been through that.
Mhm.
But when I was a teacher, because I used to be a teacher, I never understood why they stayed so long. But I've
Mhm.
never been in their shoes, so I don't have any point of
Yeah.
reference for it.
Yeah. Well, I stayed because I was convinced that it was me that was the problem. And I changed to the point where I knew that there was nothing else I could do. Like I literally felt like had hit a threshold of being everything that I was asked to be, and I still couldn't do it. Um, you know, you talked about there's a lot of shame
Hmm.
that can be attached to being abused.
Hmm.
Shame, and like I stayed for 25 years. What in the world is wrong with a woman that stays for 25 years? I allowed my body to birth 12 children, and so much of that was outside of my control. But still, when I tell people I have 12 children,
Hmm.
there can be shame behind that.
Yeah.
I don't have shame about it now,
No.
but there's a lot of those kind of things that come up when you've been in abuse or when you've been mistreated, that it's easier to hide it and hold it hostage inside of your heart, not share, not use the tools that came with it,
Hmm.
because it's so shameful. Like you said, like, why do they stay? Why do they go back?
Hmm.
It's because they've been manipulated. Their mind has been manipulated to have a belief that is outside of what they truly know about themselves.
Yeah. The
Mhm.
mind has been manipulated.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I think, whether it's abuse or whatever our story is when we step into our divine calling is, and when we step into that, it's
Mhm.
powerful.
So powerful.
Yeah, because for me personally, I'm just in awe of you, and I'm so grateful that you came on here and that you share your story and you share it on a daily basis, because I do believe that you're impacting, just in this interview. I don't know who, but someone listening, at some point, not just one person, in my opinion. I believe lots of people, but I know for sure some person is going to have the courage to change their life because we spoke today and because we
Yeah.
shared your story.
Yeah, and that's the piece that's so powerful and so important.
Mhm. Yeah, somebody's going to have courage. Somebody's going to
Mhm.
say, holy crap, Lesley did it.
Yes.
I can do that. I'm going to get my freaking tent and get the hell out of here and start and move
Get my
forward.
tent, get my clothes. Come on. Let's
Let's
go.
go. Get your doll. Of course, take your doll, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing
somebody.
that one thing that I do want to share,
Mhm.
because I just feel like it just came to me and it's important, is when I left, I had just been given a cell phone,
Mhm.
and halfway into the second day, I had powered it off manually, but
Mhm.
halfway into the second day, it was sitting in my purse. We were at a rest stop. The kids had to go to the bathroom, and I heard it make a buzz and light up my purse. Thankfully, it was kind of a darker time of the day, and I noticed it. And I looked down, and my phone said being powered on by GPS. And so I took the back off the phone and took the battery out. And I would suggest that anybody that's taking off, keep your phone. Don't get rid of it, because you may need to make an important call. But take the time to take the battery out or whatever you need to do to disconnect
Disable
it,
it.
because you can be tracked that way.
I'm really
The other
glad
thing
you
I
shared
did is
that.
I left a note. And the note, and this was what I had been advised. The note said, going on vacation,
Mhm.
don't know when I'll be back. Please feed the kitty. And the reason why I left that is because then I couldn't get hit for kidnapping the children.
Oh yeah, smart. Going on vacation. Please feed the kitty. Don't know when I'll be back. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Yes.
good. That's very smart.
The last thing I did is I went to the bank and I took half of the account.
Half the account.
Yes. I didn't take more than half. I took half because legally half of the account was mine.
That's another great tip.
Don't skip that step because you think you just want to get away, and it's terrifying to go into the bank.
Mhm.
Do it.
You need the
Go
money,
You're
right?
going to need it. Yep.
Gas costs money.
That's right.
Got to feed the kids.
Yes. And if it's more than they can give you in cash, ask for a cashier's check
Ask for a
and
cashier's check.
written to yourself.
Oh, Lesley, you are a wealth of information, girlfriend. Okay, you guys, leave a note that says, I'm on vacation, not sure when I'm going to be back. Please feed the kitty. Go get half the money. They can't give it all to you in cash. Get a cashier's check made out to yourself. Get the hell out of Dodge. If you're in a bad situation, I don't know what it's like. My husband and I don't have that kind of relationship. We have our own other problems. No one escapes. We all have crap. Let me tell you, no one, like if anyone tells you their life is perfect,
Yes.
they're lying. But if you're in an abusive situation and you're listening, or if you have a friend who's in an abusive situation, I hope you'll share this video with them. It's going to be on podcasts and on YouTube, because I just hope, maybe my goal is to inspire millions of people one by one through YouTube and through the podcast platform, for each of us to have an awakening and to move the needle closer to living the life that you're supposed to live and fulfilling your divine destiny. That I feel like every person has a divine destiny. And I know that not everyone can afford to pay for expensive private coaching. And I do believe that you can find the resources to pay for it, even if you can't. But I do think that podcasting and YouTube is such a great free resource for people to make adjustments in their life and find the tools they need to take the next step or to connect with someone. And so that's why I make these videos. And I hope that if you're in a bad situation, that you'll know that you're loved and that God doesn't want you to be in an abusive relationship. That's not what love is. That's not what it's supposed to look like. And you deserve better. Your kids deserve better. You deserve peace and a safe environment, and get the hell out. That you know.
And I have one last thought.
Mhm.
When someone mistreats you and shows you who they truly are, believe them.
Did you guys hear that? Can you say that again, Lesley, for the people in the back of the room?
When someone mistreats you and shows you who they truly are, believe them.
Don't make
Leave
excuses.
them the first
for 'em.
time. Yep. And if you think that they might change, then go ahead and leave and wait to see that happen. Let's see that transformation.
From a
Don't wait
distance.
while you're there.
Yeah, from a distance. When someone communicates that
distance.
they're a crappy person, that they're abusive and they're toxic and they're physically out of control, they're a drunk, they're an alcoholic, they're a drug addict, they're a manipulator, whatever it is, freaking believe them, get the hell out. They can get help on their own. It's hard enough to change on our own, right? It's hard enough for Colleen Lowe to make any changes in her life and change her habits. Let them figure out their own crap on their own, and you be safe and away from it, right? Yeah. Any other last thoughts, Lesley? Because you're amazing. Anything else we want to share with everyone?
Not that I can think of. Just I want to underline that there's women's shelters and women's refuges, refuges, and they're not just for women.
Yeah.
They're for men too. There's men out there that need help, and it's okay to show up. It's okay to show up broken. It's okay to show up broke. It's okay. Show up. Those resources are there to be used, and those people are helpful.
And you're worth it. We love you. I don't know you, but I love and adore you. Lesley loves you.
Yes.
And you're worth joy and peace in your life, right? No matter what's going on. No matter what. What else was I going to ask you? Hold on. I'm just going to take a second. I have my list of my fun questions, but I think we're good. I just want to look at one more thing. you have any fun? Did I ask you this? Do you have any funny stories that your family tells about you that come to mind?
My kids like to talk about when they don't know the whole story of why I would be so tired, but pregnancy, being held, to stand all night long while they were sleeping. My ex would make me do what I called standing, and keep me on my feet all night long while he interrogated me. But they have this funny story of whenever mom would read a story, she would fall asleep. I would just be reading them a book, and here's this couch lined of little children and people standing behind, laying up on the back of the couch to see the pictures, kids piled around me, and I'd be reading a story and I would just and someone would elbow me and I'd keep just like pick right back up, reading the story, and they would and they say we always had to wake up mom to get to the end of the story.
That is so funny. That's a great story.
Yeah, I'm sure that they have a lot of funny stories about me that they could tell you.
I'll
have to ask them.
Just ask them. Yeah. It just made me think that like your kids didn't know you were up all night being interrogated by your ex, right?
Not the little ones, no.
No. And it just made me think we just don't know when we come across people what they're really going through. And hopefully we'll be a little kinder, a little more patient, a little more empathetic with people because
absolutely.
We just have no idea.
From all appearances on the outside, there was this gentle family, this big gentle family that was so happy. Everything's organized. The children are all clean and scrubbed with their matching little outfits. That was one of my ways of keeping control of everything that was happening in the home. Mm-hmm. You never know. Like you said, you never know. And if you're in it and your husband or your abuser is very charismatic and people just love them and you think no one will believe you, that's okay. They don't have to believe you.
No.
Doesn't matter. You know the truth.
You know the truth. I always say God's always watching. God knows.
That's right. He does.
Mm-hmm. God knows. You can't hide from God.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. No. Any last remarks, my beautiful friend?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm just grateful. Thank you. I literally, when I heard, when I first heard about the Conadora thing, I was like, what is that? But I just decided I'm all in. I'm all in with whatever Maya's doing. I'm just in. Mm-hmm. And so I signed up for it and made the time to hear the stories. And I was like blown away. And I was like, wow. And what I realized is there's so many women who have overcome so much and been through so much, who shine so brightly. And we just have a lot to learn from each other and we're all connected. And I don't know, it's just an honor to interview you today and to give more power to your story and to help people. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it because it's so important. It's so important for the message to get out to women who are being mistreated in any way, shape, or form, that they're enough, that they're incredible, and that they don't deserve it, that there's so much more than the words that are being said to them.
And they can have a wonderful life.
Yes.
You are living proof.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see you. I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I don't know what the schedule will be, but we'll wrap it up. But we have a call about our book launch, but you can find Lesley at Lesley Rosas, LesleyRosas.com, right?
Yes.
We'll put her link down below. Every month she has her 90-minute free workshop. Then she has a 4-month course, the Color Me Mind course. And that's a paid program that I would highly recommend that you join and learn more, dig deeper, because you can see the quality of the person that she is, and that she will take you and dig deeper in and help you to shine and become the person you were meant to be. And then we will tag this. This will be available on YouTube. You can like and subscribe. And you can also find her on social media. So, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys
Lesley
are all
Rosas,
awesome.
Color Me Unstoppable.
Color Me Unstoppable, right?
Yes.
That's on your social media, right?
Yes.
Color Me Unstoppable. You guys, and then the name of the book we're going to be in, she's one of the 44 women. I'm one of the 44 women. Our stories are in there, and it's called When Love Speaks. You can find it on Amazon, and it's going to be, you'll love it, and it'll be a great gift to give to people for any occasion, birthdays, Mother's Day, any holiday, just any, for, what the best present to get is for zero reason, just because I love you and here's a great gift idea. So anyway, thank you, gorgeous, for joining us.
Thank you, Colleen. Thanks for having me.
Yep, you're awesome.
So are you.
Thanks, gorgeous. Okay.